The forest was silent in a way that felt intentional, as if every leaf and branch had agreed to hold its breath. Somewhere in that stillness, a man crouched low with a bow drawn tight, his fingers hardened by years of pulling strings and ending lives. He was known as the finest hunter these woods had ever seen. Deer fell without a sound. Wolves never sensed him until it was too late. Even the wind seemed to move aside for him. But on this morning, his target was not large, nor fierce, nor worthy of songs. It was a small bird, perched on a thin branch, its chest rising and falling in soft, nervous rhythms. The hunter's arrow followed the bird's tiny heart, steady and precise. He did not hesitate, because hesitation was something he had trained out of himself long ago. The bird tilted its head, as if it felt the weight of being watched. Its feathers were dull brown, unremarkable, the kind no one would miss. It opened its beak and sang, not loudly, not beautifully, but honestly. The sound slipped into the hunter's ears and did something no blade or claw had ever done. It reached somewhere deeper than muscle. Still, his arm did not lower. Hunger was hunger. Skill was skill. The world had always made sense when life was taken cleanly and without emotion. Just as he released the string, a sudden gust bent the branch. The arrow sliced through empty air and vanished into the undergrowth. The bird fluttered wildly, nearly falling, then clung to the branch with trembling claws. The hunter froze. Misses were rare. Misses on something so small were almost unheard of. Annoyance burned first, then curiosity. He reached for another arrow, slower this time. The bird spoke. "Please," it said, its voice thin but clear, "if you must hunt, hunt something that can run." The hunter's breath caught. He had heard stories whispered around fires, tales of talking beasts meant to scare children and soften men, but never had he believed them. His bow lowered a fraction. "You're a trick," he said quietly. "Or hunger is finally making me mad." "I am neither," the bird replied. "I am small, yes, but I am alive, and I wish to stay that way." The hunter studied it. Up close, the bird's eye reflected him perfectly, a man with scars, hollow cheeks, and eyes that had forgotten how to wonder. "Why shouldn't I kill you?" he asked. "The world is built on teeth and talons. I am no different." The bird shifted, steadying itself. "Because I offer you something you cannot hunt." The forest seemed to lean closer. The hunter laughed, a dry sound. "There is nothing I cannot hunt." "You hunt bodies," the bird said, "not meaning." The words landed heavier than any insult. The hunter felt an old irritation rise, the kind he usually silenced with action. "Speak quickly," he warned. "Clever words won't fill my stomach." The bird nodded. "Spare me today, and I will show you what you've been walking past your entire life." The hunter looked around. Trees, dirt, shadows. He had walked these paths since boyhood. He knew every trail, every hiding place. "I already know this forest." "You know how to take from it," the bird said gently, "not how to listen." Silence stretched. The hunter realized something unsettling. He was not hungry enough to rush. Against his will, curiosity won. He lowered the bow completely. "If you lie," he said, "I will not miss again." The bird dipped its head. "Fair." It leapt from the branch and fluttered low, slow enough for him to follow. The hunter moved cautiously, every sense alert, expecting deception. They traveled deeper into the forest, past the usual hunting grounds, into a place he had avoided because it offered no easy kills. The air changed there, cooler, heavier, alive in a different way. The bird landed beside a narrow stream, its water so clear the stones beneath looked close enough to touch. "Sit," the bird said. The hunter did not like being told what to do, but he sat. The bird hopped closer to the water. "Watch." At first, he saw nothing. Then he noticed ripples that were not caused by fish. Tiny insects skimmed the surface, their lives measured in seconds. Sunlight fractured through the leaves, turning water into moving gold. The sound of the stream was soft but constant, a heartbeat the forest never lost. "This has always been here," the bird said. "You never needed to kill to feel full." The hunter frowned. "This doesn't feed me." "No," the bird replied, "but it reminds you why feeding yourself matters." Something inside the hunter shifted, subtle and uncomfortable. Memories stirred, of a time before he became a weapon, when he had listened to streams without thinking of thirst, when the forest had felt like a place to belong rather than conquer. He stood abruptly. "Enough," he said. "I kept my word. Go." The bird hesitated. "Our paths will cross again." "They won't," the hunter replied, turning away. But as he walked back through the forest, bow heavy in his hand, the silence no longer felt obedient. It felt watchful. And for the first time in years, the hunter felt smaller than the world around him. The hunter did not return home that night. He walked until the forest thinned and the sky grew heavy with stars. He built no fire. He did not eat. Sleep came in fragments, broken by dreams he had not had since childhood, dreams where animals watched him without fear, where the forest spoke without words. When morning came, his hunger was sharp, but it felt different, quieter, as if it were no longer in control. He rose and moved with habit guiding his feet, but his eyes searched now, not for targets, but for something unnamed. He told himself it was foolishness, that a talking bird had no power over a man forged by survival. And yet, when a rabbit darted across his path, he did not reach for an arrow. The moment passed, leaving behind an unfamiliar ache. By midday, he heard the song again. Soft, uneven, real. The bird perched on a fallen log, preening its feathers as if this meeting had always been planned. "You came," it said. "I never left," the hunter replied, surprising himself with the truth of it. The bird hopped closer. "You feel it now, don't you? The space where noise used to be." The hunter clenched his jaw. "You're changing nothing. Hunger still exists." "Yes," the bird said, "but so does choice." They walked together, not side by side. Hunter and bird did not share strides, but along the same direction. The bird showed him things he had ignored for years, how trees bent toward light, how injured animals were tended by the forest itself, how death was part of life but not its purpose. Each lesson stripped something from him, not his skill, not his strength, but his certainty. Days passed. The hunter ate berries, roots, fish he caught by hand. It was harder, slower. He felt weaker at first, then clearer. His hands still knew the bow, but they no longer itched for it. One evening, as the sun bled into the horizon, he asked the question that had been burning inside him. "What happens when I need to kill again?" The bird did not answer immediately. It watched the sky. "Then you will know why," it said. "And that will change everything." The test came sooner than expected. A wounded boar burst from the brush one night, mad with pain, charging blindly. The hunter had seconds. Instinct surged. He drew, aimed, released. The arrow struck true. The boar fell. Silence followed. The hunter stood over the body, breath shaking. He waited for guilt, for shame. None came. Instead, there was understanding. He knelt, placing a hand on the animal's coarse hide. "Thank you," he whispered. The bird landed nearby. "You see now." The hunter nodded. He built a fire that night. He ate. But something had changed forever. Killing was no longer proof of power. It was responsibility. When winter crept in, the bird's visits grew fewer. One morning, the hunter woke to find the forest empty in a way that felt final. He searched, called, listened. Nothing. Panic fluttered in his chest, sharp and unexpected. At the stream where they first spoke, he sat and waited. Hours passed. Then the bird appeared, older somehow, feathers lighter, eyes calm. "My time here is ending," it said. The hunter swallowed. "Then stay." The bird smiled, a thing no bird should be able to do, yet somehow did. "You don't need me anymore." The hunter wanted to argue. Instead, he asked, "What am I now?" The bird looked at him for a long moment. "You are still a hunter," it said, "but now you hunt with your eyes open." With that, it flew upward, disappearing into the pale sky. The hunter watched until it was gone, then turned back to the forest. It felt different now, not silent, not obedient, but alive and willing to walk with him as long as he listened. And for the first time in his life, the hunter moved forward without feeling the need to conquer a single thing.